Okay, so we're going to talk about certifications. You guys have asked me to discuss this. You've come across through our YouTube channel, the podcast, um, and social media. And I would say more recently on social media, various posts have brought in the conversation of certifications. So since I've been asked, I will just give my opinion along with a little bit of history and some things about certifications in general. So we'll start off with that. Typical detection dog certifications have been in existence for 30 plus years more with some organizations. Certifications are looked at as what everybody deems them or calls them as minimum standards. So, what is the minimum standard for detection dogs? That typically basically means that the dog can locate and indicate to its trained odor in at least one environment, but most certifications require multiple environments. And I'll get back to that in a second. Second part of that evaluation is, can the handler properly read and deploy their dog in those areas or area? Now, that complexity of an area is usually not very complex, it's very basic. So, we are looking at, as evaluators, and I've been an evaluator now for a number of years for different organizations, and I'll say that, like I said, doesn't really matter the organization. They're all about the same with some nuances and some slight changes in requirements. Some, of course, do make certifications slightly different based, of course, on the dog's detection discipline, which is very good. But again, what we've been reviewing is, as certifying officials, is a real basic ability that is pretty much not much more than a odor recognition test in a very simple environment. So your typical ones are going to be vehicles and rooms. Most programs will require you to do at least vehicles and at least rooms. Some just require one, some require more than that, again, depending on the discipline of the dog and detection. Again, like I said, these programs have been around for 30 plus years and haven't changed all that much in that 30 years. Agencies, when their handler comes back with that nice little piece of paper that says they're certified, automatically, in many cases, without knowledge, assume that the team is extremely reliable or highly reliable at their skill set because they've achieved that certification. Other agencies, of course, they understand this is just this is the beginning. This is the minimum standard. Just like the academy, when new officers get out, they are, completely green, wet behind the ears. That's why there's an FTO program and so forth. Even then, after FTO, it's still very much a new thing. All of that said, my opinion is this: certifications need to evolve. It needs to change a bit. We need to have more of a operational review of a canine team as well as a odor recognition aspect. We need to start off, or I would start off with a very simple odor recognition thing, a very simple, the typical ones, your lineups, your typical like ATF, the circle of cans or whatever. That allows you as an evaluator to see, does the dog know the odors, and does the handler call that out correctly based on that dog's response. Right then and there, you can see, at least in a very simple format, the dog does know the odor in the presence of other distracting and proofing odors in a lineup, and the handler correctly calls what the dog tells them. That's done. Then we need to go to a operational evaluation. Operational evaluations need to match the typical search environment which these teams will face, depending on whatever discipline of detection that they're doing. So the operations need to match. So bomb dogs need to do things like that bomb dogs do, and drug dogs need to do searches like drug dogs do, and firearms and so on and so forth. It can't be all just really close together and lumped with a little bit of slight differences. We need to look at things operationally from that mindset of this is what that team will face. In addition to that, we need to look at reliability in the absence of odor. Can the canine teams successfully call an all clear area that's unknown to them? All they'll know in the search standards is one of the areas at the discretion of the judge is all clear. They don't know. It could be the vehicle searches, could be the rooms, could be the packages or parcels or suitcases, whatever. At the judge's discretion to have at least one of these be all clear, and the K9 team successfully call that. So my thing is, I want us as an industry to be better. I want us to take the initiative to make some of these changes before the legal system does. The legal system has looked at certifications in different forms or fashions, but they've stayed away from saying what exactly has to be done as far as, how many blank things. Does it have to be single blind or double blind? Obviously, single blind is what is required. But double blind has been brought up a few times, and it hasn't really made a big impact as far as major case law goes, as double blind had to be a standard. It's been brought up, it's been debated, some judges like it, but again, it's not anything that has to be done. I was actually part of a study where we looked at this. What is important is anything that you test should tell you when there's something there and successfully tell you when something's not there. In the detection dog world, our way of doing that was saying, hey, in that search of 5 cars, there was at least 2 that were blank, and I successfully called those blank. How about you have no idea and you search whatever area, could be 5 cars, could be 5 rooms, could be 20 pieces of luggage or parcels, and you come back to the official and say, there's nothing here. That is more difficult, but important. We have an obligation as an industry in detection dogs to protect with public safety and to protect people's constitutional rights. I don't think it's too much to ask for us to evolve what we are doing as far as our evaluations of K9 teams. We've gotten away with doing it this way for a long time, but I think we all can agree law enforcement has changed quite a bit in the past 20 years, let alone the past 10. I think our detection dog evaluation process needs to evolve with that. And doing something as simple as an odor recognition test and as simple as one of your operational search areas is a negative or all clear, and you can correctly identify that, isn't too much to ask. So you guys wanted to know, that's my opinion on certifications. Let me hear your comments. I'm sure they're coming.